I got my ass fetish from a girl who was a year older than me. I think the piss stuff that I've done, I got a fetish from. I would have this brother and sister who were my age or a year older. In second grade, they would both piss their pants a lot, and I would hide behind the bushes, and I would always get one of them to sit on my face so I could breathe it in.
That's so funny. I mean, it's so extreme. And what's always been fascinating about you is that and also you're doing it on Opie and Anthony and now your show, which in my head is more right wing.
You know, we're more conservative when it comes to stuff like crime and punishment, language, policing. But as far as being sexuality and things like that, I mean, our show was, O&A was a barbaric, hilarious show that made fun of everything. But they never cared about people being gay or bisexual, like in a legal sense. Like, they were never against gay people.
But even like culturally, it's just like you would say, I blow guys, and it was more just like you're weird or you're like, it wasn't even it was maybe you're gay, but it was always.
Yes, I'm not gay, but I'm definitely not straight. I mean, you can't be straight and be in a relationship with a woman who has a dick. There's just no way. And despite what gender studies professors will try to bark at you, it's just not the truth as far as I see it. But I was never a good ally for like LGBT, never saw me as an ally because of the people that I'm with and the jokes I make and the things I've said. So they just kind of like, they didn't fuck with me.
Right,
and
but
they didn't embrace
it is
me.
an interesting. Well, all right, here's a question. Whatever your vague sexuality is, do you feel like most people who's either they're non-binary or they're trans or they're all these new sort of, they're not new category, they're not new, they're named, the naming them is new, and categorizing them is new. But do you think that your experience is that off from most people within that realm?
I don't know. I mean, to be really honest, because I don't understand a lot of it.
I would assume it's very contradictory and confusing within yourself.
Well, I mean, for me, there's no way to consider myself straight. I never have. Like, you know, so many guys will say, like, they misread it and they'll go, you're with, my wife's name is Nikki, you're with her and you think that, they're like, he says he's not gay, he's delusional, but I'm not. If I was gay, I'd tell you I'm gay. I don't give a fuck. I'm 55 years old. I'm not nervous to say it. But I like vaginas too. So it has to be bisexual. It has to be, I mean, I don't like all the new terms. I'm sure some of them are legit. I just am old and don't understand them. But I also think a lot of them are, hey, this sounds unique. And we all have chronic uniqueness. I had it growing up. And if I was 15, I'm sure I would have had a bunch of different labels for myself. So for me, it's hard to determine what's legit, what is attention seeking, what is a phase, what makes somebody really transgender. Like, I don't know the answer to it.
Well, yeah. And I think we could talk about it endlessly and still not know.
Yeah.
My question for you would be, in terms of your sexual taste, is it like ordering off a menu? Or not ordering off a menu, what kind of food do I want tonight? Like Thai or Japanese or German or like, or going on Pornhub and being like, I like ladies.
Sure.
So then within ladies, I go, I don't know. Maybe let's see if that's anything.
It's more like blindly reaching my hand into a bucket, and whenever I pull out, I'm like, I'll eat that.
But is it that random? Does it feel that random?
No, like whatever it is that will turn me on, it changes. It's like, you know, for a long time it was feet, and then I'm like, no, I don't care about feet. Or just being smothered by your girls. It really depends on the moment and the day what I'm going to look for. I mean, there's certain things that like would never turn me on. You know, and the typical stuff that doesn't turn most sane people on.
Piss. Sorry.
Well, you know, I mean,
let's not be crazy.
Yeah, let's not be crazy. I mean, it's a fetish. It's a beverage. It's anything you want it to be.
Okay, so I mean, I'm sort of jumping around here because there's a bunch of the first block is sex addiction, so we'll show that up and we'll place all that under here. Within a marriage, you'll go through a cycle of what turns you on, however long, a week, a month, a year, whatever. Can Nikki provide all this, or is the understanding like sometimes I like what you offer, and other times I need to leave, or she tries to accommodate what you're into? She's
pretty open, but she's also pretty traditional. Like, she's very, very, like, she's a very literal person. She's not into role play or dirty talk. She's just, let's get to it. She's tactile.
Dirty talk is so embarrassing.
I like it because I'm pretty good at it, and I'm a great dirty texter. But I can see it being embarrassing if someone's not comfortable
it's just
with
not.
it.
I just find the writing bad.
Yeah, some of it can.
It's
be.
all like guys all say the same thing and women all say the same
Yeah,
thing.
like, hey, you're so wet. I mean, that's shit.
Or like, are you my just all this like, it's just like, it's hacky.
If you mean it, like if you, to me, a person meaning it is very important.
Army
like,
Hammer.
Army Hammer, you know what? That's a typical, I look at that as such a not a big deal. Like as long as he didn't, I don't know if he forced that woman or not.
It's like that documentary about the cop who wanted to eat
Gilbert,
people.
Whatever his name was. Yeah, I knew one of the girls in that porn.
Of course you did. I knew that.
Who I love. Her name is Pepper Kester. She's one of the sexiest women in history. She would do a lot of that like cannibal porn or whatever.
Yeah.
And he
it's like, can you say I want to eat you?
Sure.
Like what's wrong? I even with Army Hammer, obviously once you're into non-consensual physical harm, then I go, yeah, that you can't do that. But texting,
if it's, I don't know if it's non-consensual or if she's just a jilted ex who hates him. I don't know.
Right,
I don't know.
I know.
But the texting was nothing. It was like, it's pure dom sub relationship.
Yeah.
For people to pretend that they don't understand that, how could anyone like that? How could any guy want his dick stepped on? But there is an entire cottage industry of women who are paying their rent because kick guys in the balls.
Have you ever, there's a book called Everybody Lies, and they looked up the stats on what women search for and what men search for in terms of rough sex on Pornhub. And rough sex, the searches from women were 24% and the searches for men were 6%. So in that case, women are significantly more into it than men are. Anyway, it's like, and then people going like, "What?" The pearl clutching of like, "What?"
Yeah, they're lying.
It's just dishonest.
I don't believe it, and that's why I'm not upset by it. But they're lying. Like the whole like what he wrote is not a fetish of mine. I don't understand it, but reading the language of it, I know exactly the nature of that relationship because I've had that relationship with women where I've been dominant, and I'm more submissive. I've had women saying such humiliating things about wanting to fuck other guys in front of me. How I wasn't enough, how I would have to, like all of these things that you think wouldn't turn a person on, but what turned me on was that she liked it. And I was like, the fact that she's so dirty and sharing this intimate, private, filthy stuff. And
that's also the thing of like, you can't explain that to people who want to act like, it's like, all right, there's 7 dynamics here. And they're all very subtle. And you can lie and say it's all disgusting. And
sure.
But like, you're being dishonest about sexuality in and of itself, which is what I'm curious about. Do you feel like they're almost like just feelings of like, that's how I feel right now, I'll do it, but you don't ride for any of it. You're not like, this is who I am.
It's dopamine. I'm on a sugar rush and I really want cookies, but they don't have it. So I'll have carrot cake. It's like, that's how it kind of goes. And then one time I'll be fixated on carrot cake and I'll go, no, that's not it anymore. Fuck, her feet smell really good. I'll go with that. It's the food and sex are really close as far as addiction and because you can't be abstinent. But I've kind of go through also periods, like if there's something I want to do, I don't cheat on my wife, and anyone would say that, but I mean,
if you use sex workers, would that be cheating?
Oh yeah, anything like that would be cheating. Anything. I understand that also the addiction is a lie. Like me wanting different things is just me being greedy. I was so attracted to Nikki, and the fact that we are married, I'm like, I will never be more attracted to a person than I have been to my wife. So if I'm craving something else, it's because it's addiction. It's pure gluttony. It's like, it's a lie. I'm going to go there. I'm going to cheat. I'm going to feel terrible and go, oh, why did I do that? It wasn't what I wanted.
So I was married and I was polyamorous in my marriage, which actually kind of worked for a long time until it really didn't. But it was always this thing of like trying to make something work when it really wasn't going to work because the person I was with was incredibly jealous. So it's so hard to.
You knew that ahead of time?
Yeah.
And what did he say? Like, I can deal with it?
Well, he could deal with it when he would have other partners, but he couldn't deal with it when I would.
Yeah.
And we tried to make it work for like 12 years. And it just didn't, it was unfortunate because we were well matched. We got along really well. And he was a great person. But I guess the mission statement of the marriage was false. We could not make polyamory work.
Were there ever ones where like he was like, okay, I'm not jealous. I don't know why. This one doesn't bother me.
It would all bother him. So it was too bad because we really tried and he really tried, but it was just like, we can't make something work just on a theory that this is going to happen.
Well, yeah, if you can't physically do it, if your emotions aren't calibrated to be okay with it.
Yeah.
Here's my question for anyone who's done polyamory. What do you do when you know the person is somewhere sleeping with another person? Like, how can you go to the gym? What can you do?
Yeah, you can do anything else. You can go on another date. You can go do something else.
Oh, right. Yeah, but that feels like retaliatory.
Yeah, that's true. I think it really just is about, I don't know, like having your own life that can compartmentalize well. And you could also do things together as a polycule, which
Polycule.
I enjoy.
God, tell us more. What is that?
A polycule is a unit of relationships revolving and evolving around a primary polyamorous relationship. So you have your primary partner, and then you have other partners who are satellites. And then when you can all come together in a kind of like a softball team or a family reunion, some kind of unit, bowling, whatever, that's actually great. And so we had a polycule of people with his partners, but he could never include one of mine because it was just too threatening. So
it would be you and him, and then
another person.
One other woman?
Yes, that worked well.
You and her would speak for most of the time?
Yeah, most of the time. And it was great. I actually really loved our polycule. Like that was actually probably of all the relationships, that was the most successful when we had an extra person because we didn't have children. So that was sort of like, and
she was 19?
No, but she was great. And so I really loved her, and I'm still very fond of her today.
It's weird because that might be as the more natural, that's the connected relationship. Like you can interact and you guys have this shared thing, and she doesn't want them.
No.
And you do, but are happy to share.
Yeah. And we had the best time.
Vacations?
No vacations, but just lots of times at home, watching movies, going out to see movies, going and having meals, everything like that.
Would you ever farm out sex with him like a chore? Like go jerk him off real quick.
No, but
I'm very childish.
It would be implied. Like implied, like it was great.
Like you'd be like, I gotta go to the post office, and then you'd assume something would happen, like roommates in a weird way.
It was really roommates. And my home is really large, so it could accommodate things that were happening in other rooms that you would just not even know, which is good. Would
you get a pang of jealousy, which was interesting, or you would just be like, well,
no,
people are sexual and they want to have multiple partners?
Yeah, I'm not. I realized that I've become very jealous as I've gotten older.
Fascinating.
In later life. But
why?
Back
that
then,
seems like the opposite of most.
Yeah.
Because I've gone the total other way.
Now I'm super jealous. But then now I'm not having anything. So it doesn't matter.
Why are you jealous now, do you think? I
think now for something intimate to happen, it's got to be it's so important to me to want to. Also, as I've gotten older, my desire for sex has completely gone away. And so now I have to look to, why do I even want sex or intimacy in the first place? Like, what does that even mean? Like, it's weird. I think my relationship to sexuality has really shifted.
I'm really interested in that because it's like how much are we defined by that?
So much.
And then once it's taken away, you kind of go, what are my interests?
Right.
That's why I like when women in their 50s start gardening more and they dress differently.
Yes.
Is that is that her natural state?
Yeah.
Or is that just like her natural state is whatever she's experiencing chemically?
I think that the natural state for me is gardening. I love gardening.
That's so funny.
I love my garden. I love my animals. I love my home. I love the way that my life is. And it does not include necessarily anything romantic. But it's also a newish place to be because I've been in romantic relationships for my entire adult life. So it's strange to navigate now of purposely not doing that.
How are you with loneliness? And how much of that was a male connection, any connection, Like, it's interesting to parse this stuff of like, what was that? Was I just horny? What is the compulsion to be with another person?
It is compulsion. It's compulsory heterosexuality that was impressed on me as from childhood on. Like, I wasn't complete without a relationship, whether that was with a man or a woman. It was just like I was not complete without some kind of romantic relationship happening somewhere. So, and compulsory, it's more compulsory so compet.
And you think it's more heterosexuality?
It's more heteronormative. It's more like your biological clock is ticking. You got to get with somebody quickly.
When did you realize you didn't want kids? Or did you realize?
Oh, I realized early on, but I also later on had an extinction burst of like, oh, maybe I should do this. In my 40s, I thought, oh, maybe I should do this. But then I realized, oh, that's not for me.
How long did that last?
Just a few months.
Great. Did you do anything crazy?
No.
You have a couple websites you would go and look, and eggs and IVF stuff. And do you think that compulsory, there are times where I think there's a lot of downside to it. Like there's a lot of, compared to you at 25 years ago versus now, which person is happier, more content? And because it's this drive that you don't even, like, why do I have this?
Yeah.
And then now you can sort of think clearly. Mm-hmm. And do you think this person, or what I would consider thinking clearly, although it's just different chemicals?
It's just different hormones.
Yeah.
It's just all hormonal. It's so weird how we're just a weird chemical set, like chemistry experiment happening all the time.
And we think it's our personality.
Yeah. And we think it's our destiny.
Yeah.
But it's just a bunch of weird chemical reactions.
Yeah. And I say that not even being nihilistic about it. I'm not like, man, this is just chemicals. It's a good realization to have.
Yeah.
Where you realize like, no, this is temporary. Mm-hmm. And if I ride it out, you can kind of overcome anything.
Totally.
On your Wikipedia, besides your blogs, which we have.
You can't believe anything on Wikipedia. It's a terrible idea. Well, the idea that everybody adds information.
Yeah, no, yes, I'm with you. The things that I found of interest were atheist, asexual. I don't know if
anything that begins with an A.
Yeah,
that's
I like
me
it.
all over.
No, I didn't get past the A's.
Yeah.
Atheist and asexual. Asshole, of course.
Right.
I was gonna. That was the third one. Those were the two that I was like, oh, those are interesting. Asexual, because you must have been, if that's true, you must have been confused by it.
Confused by what?
I was listening to a podcast yesterday where the person was saying like it really wasn't a thing. Like people didn't know that was a thing you could be. It was a thing you were, but you didn't know if anyone else was that.
Well, yeah, I think that's true for me. I don't know that I would, I've had so many people ask me about my sexuality, and what I always tell them is when I find out, I'll let you know. Because I really, one time after a show, I usually do a meet and greet, and this mom came up with her high school kid, and the high school kid, it was a young girl, and she wanted to talk to me. She was so excited that I said that I was asexual, and she said, because so am I. And in my head, I was thinking, well, don't close off.
Yeah, it's
why take
young.
on a label that's going to close off doors to you? Should you, should that not turn out to be the case? One of the things about my kids' generation that is so brilliant is that they'll say, they'll say, well, I'm gender fluid, or I'm bisexual, or I think it's brilliant because why on earth lock yourself into a particular title when who knows?
Yeah.
Right? What might transpire at some point in your life. And does it need to be labeled? I don't think so.
Did you find it the person on the podcast, and this is a thought I've had as well, which is like, sexuality and needing sex and needing sexual attention is pretty time consuming.
Oh my gosh. When my kids were little, and we always had a lot of pets too, still do. And every minute was precious, and it was like, I was running in front of a, some sort of giant lawnmower all the time, just so much that had to get done, just in order to, keep them healthy and functioning and, still be bringing in money and all the things that you have to do as a parent. And I would always think to myself, my God, and there's people who have to, the idea, like I always said, I didn't used to go to sleep. I passed out, I just would I would keep working, keep cleaning and keep doing everything until I literally could not take another step forward. And I'm like, and there are people who at this point now would have to go into their bedrooms and have an activity.
Yeah.
I can't imagine that.
Yeah.
That's a horrible idea.
Yes.
But if it gives them something that I'm missing, well, good for them. But
did you ever look at it as like an advantage of like, was it alienating?
Oh, I think it's a great advantage. I think it's a great advantage. And you have to find the person.
Yeah.
That's the other thing. All the time to find the person.
Yes.
And then you have to put
and
up
then,
with,
And then, by the way, that person you found, wrong person.
Yeah, exactly.
You spent 8-9 years on the wrong person.
Yeah. And then you have to, right. And then you have to put up with, and then it gets mean.
And then you owe them money.
And then it gets mean with someone that knows so much about you. I mean, just sounds like, yeah. I mean, I realize that if everyone were me, then there wouldn't be enough of us to go on. But I'm, I always say, to the rest of you, go have at it.
Yeah. And they did. They have.
Yeah.
Historically.
Yeah, they have.
And did you find it alienating, and then, or were you just like, I don't really care? Or did you ever go like, why am I not pursuing this in the way that other people are?
Oh, it definitely felt like there's, there must be something horribly wrong with me. But there was a period of time where I sort of did go through the motions of, because that's what I thought you were supposed to do. And so there was a period of time where I, like as a kid and stuff, I would, when my sisters would want to do the game where you wrote down, a list of names of boys that that you might marry, and then you wrote down, what kind of house you were going to have, and like, all those back of the car on long trips games that we used to play. I went through all that, and that was what I was gonna do because I thought you were supposed to. I don't think at the time I really put it together with the idea of sex. I just thought.
But when you're 28, 29, 30, everyone's pairing up. And are you was people were worried about you? Or did they assume you were lesbian and they were like, that's none of our business? Like, what did they think?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. But I did, then there's that other side of things where people go, well, you must be a lesbian.
Yep.
And then they get upset because you're not coming out as a lesbian. I remember being on stage one night and I said to the audience, I had some joke with it, but I've forgotten, but I said, I really don't like sex. And, some audience members shouted out, with women. And I said, can you see that would still be sex? But yeah, I definitely went through where I tried to figure out, and again, I always tell my kids, I go, years from now when I'm not busy, who knows?
Yeah.
I might just surprise
How
everybody.
young is the youngest kid?
26.
Oh, so you're in the clear, aren't you?
No.
Okay.
You're never in the clear.
Right,
Honestly.
but you're not it's not lawnmower passing out phase, is it still?
No, it isn't. Although, where there's space, there's plenty of things that come into.
Yeah.
I'm still behind. I still have stacks of lists of things to do that haven't been touched.
Yeah.
I still have.
My mom's 90. She still has them.
Wow. Yeah. That's sad. I still have. I've lived in the house we live in now. I rent. I have had just pieces of fabric stapled to the top of the sill for curtains for 23 years.
Yeah.
And I've been meaning to, get them measured and order some sort of, Roman shade.
I like that you would get them. You couldn't do it yourself. Take 40 seconds.
I think
You
you're
could do it
supposed to have it
today.
measured like in a particular way, I believe. They always say, we get professional.
I don't. I
if
think
you're
that
going to go
with
to
the internet,
expense
Paula.
of the Roman shade, if you're going to go to the expense of the Roman shade, then you may as well have somebody measure it properly.
Hey, did you like that? Did you like that? Yeah, did you like it though? You want more? Don't want to work? Would rather watch videos of me grab-assing with people? First of all, go up here to subscribe, and then go up here to watch more clips. This is like when the weatherman says that there's a high pressure system coming in. I'm not really used to the green screen.